The Big Wave, Part 3. So they waited for Jaya to wake. I don't think Jaya can ever be happy again, Kino said sorrowfully. Yes, he will be happy someday, his father said. For life is always stronger than death. Jaya will feel when he wakes that he can never be happy again. He will cry, and we must let him cry. But he cannot always cry. After a few days, he will stop crying all the time. He will cry only part of the time. He will sit sad and quiet. We must allow him to be sad, and we must not make him speak. But we will do our work and live as always we do. Then one day he will be hungry and he will eat something that our mother cooks, something special, and he will begin to feel better. He will not cry anymore in the daytime, but only at night. We must let him cry at night. But all the time his body will be renewing itself. His blood flowing in his veins, his growing bones, his mind beginning to think again, will make him live. He cannot forget his father and mother and his brother, Kino exclaimed. He cannot and he should not forget them, Kino's father said. Just as he lived with them alive, he will live with them dead. Someday he will accept their death as part of his life. He will weep no more. He will carry them in his memory and in his thoughts. His flesh and blood are part of them. So long as he is alive, they too will live in him. The big wave came, but it went away. The sun shines again. Birds sing, and earth flowers. Look out over the sea now. Kino looked out the open door and he saw the ocean sparkling and smooth. The sky was blue again. A few clouds on the horizon were the only sign of what had passed, except for the empty beach. How cruel it seems for the sky to be so clear and the ocean so calm, Kino said. But his father shook his head. No, it is wonderful that after the storm the ocean grows calm and the sky is blue once more. It was not the ocean or the sky that made the evil storm. Who made it? Kino asked. He let tears roll down his cheeks because there was so much he could not understand. But only his father saw them and his father understood. Ah, no one knows who makes evil storms, his father replied. We only know that they come. When they come, we must live through them as bravely as we can. And after they are gone, we must feel again how wonderful is life. Every day of life is more valuable now than it was before the storm. But Jaya's family, his father and mother and brother, and all the other good fisher folk who are lost, Kino whispered. He could not forget the dead. Now we must think of Jaya, his father reminded him. He will open his eyes at any minute, and we must be there. You to be his brother, and I to be his father. Call your mother too, and little Setsu. Now they heard something. Jaya's eyes were still closed, but he was sobbing in his sleep. Kino ran to fetch his mother and Setsu, and they gathered about his bed, kneeling on the floor so as to be near Jaya when he opened his eyes. In a few minutes, while they all watched, Jaya's eyelids fluttered on his pale cheeks, and then he opened his eyes. He did not know where he was. He looked from one face to the other as though they were strangers. Then he looked up into the beams of the ceiling and around the white walls of the room. He looked at the blue flowered quilt that covered him. None of them said nothing. They continued to kneel about him, waiting. But Setsu could not keep quiet. She clapped her hands and laughed. "Oh, Jaya has come back," she cried. "Jaya, did you have a good dream?" The sound of her voice made him fully aware